Hey, good morning. This is Nancy Saucy with Four Winds Quilting, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial today on our Spring Strings Quilters Pink Party Bag project. So this is what we did. We did 16 blocks. We used yellow as our center and our first one that we laid down, and then we did contrasting on either side to then form a block that looks like this and put them together. It's so fun, and this one just shouted spring to us, and we hope you guys have fun with this one and enjoy it. And remember, if you ever have questions, all you have to do is ever call the store. You all have my cell. Call me, text me, email me, and I am always more than happy to help. Just so you know, that goes on as long as I am breathing and remembering. So anyway, you guys, we started out this project with something called string-alongs, and these are 9-inch papers for foundation piecing, and you can tear the papers off on the back on these. Our sample has the paper still until I piece it together, and then I start to remove the paper off of the back once I've pieced them. You shorten your stitch length, so then it perforates the paper and it's really easy to tear the paper off. And worst case scenario, we've seen places where people did not tear their paper off. As it gets washed, it kind of bonds with the fabric and the crinkle goes away and it gives it a little bit of body. It's maybe ever so slightly stiffer, but otherwise it's not a life or death thing if the paper is left in, and that's been my experience. And this is foundation paper. It's thin, it's like newspaper print. It tears easily though, so there's kind of really no reason not to take it out, but we know things can happen, and so go with it. Anyway, so you guys, in your kit, you will have gotten 20 papers, and you are going to use 16 of them. If you so desire to use all 20, your layout would be 4 across by 5 down, and you'd get a little bit more of a rectangular effect. And if you need more, we carry these in the store. They're $12 for a pack of 100, so we find that really reasonable. And if you incorporate some of your own fun favorite scraps in yours, you would definitely have enough fabric. I got 20 blocks out of what I had included in your kit, same as what I started with. So it's very enjoyable, and as long as the colors meld and blend and work well together, you should be able to incorporate some of those. So you guys, we started with the papers, and I asked you in the paper, or in the directions, to draw a line from one diagonal corner, let's do it this way, to this diagonal corner, and that is where you're going to lay down your center strip. I do have you cut all the fabric into strips, and they need to be about 13.5-inch long, which is the length you need to start with this diagonal edge. And every scrap you save, because we can use it out here in the corners in little teeny tiny pieces, like what you see down here, over here, up in there, and so it truly is a good scrap buster quilt. So anyway, all I do once I draw that line, and I just kind of eyeball this, you can use a glue stick to put down that first line of fabric if you so desire. I did it on 2 of them. It made it a little harder to tear the paper off once I was done, but it did keep this in position while I sewed. So personal choice. Once you do this, and just so you know, while I did all yellow, you do have 3 pieces of pink, and if you want to go total pink, you can do it with the pink in the center, and then the yellow gets cut up and is out in here in the other strip. So do things to make it your own. We're always big encouragers of that. So what we do is, once we lay down that center strip, you will lay another strip right side down on the edge, and you are going to sew that down by a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Remember, you're going to decrease your stitch length. So, and that is how easy this is. And then again, going for contrast, this is then going to get flipped over, pressed, and you are going to then add another strip over here. And I just did them in pairs, so I added 2 strips at a time, and so my blocks went really fast, so it's a good shortcut. And I love chain piecing, and that's what we kind of did. You just would grab a scrap as long as it was contrasting, and it worked. And so, because you will also have some yellow scraps, and in some of mine you'll see that I also put some of the yellow out in the other areas. You can see if there's one right there. And while these are all cut at 2 1/4, I do have one, and it's way up here in this corner, and that one is like a 1 1/2 inch strip, and I was kind of playing around with design and seeing how it worked, and it all plays well. So no reason not to do that. And as you keep adding strips, you will end up with a block. So here's my contrast. Again, I did a kind of a fun stripe. I did turquoise, blues, limes, greens. And when I was auditioning fabric, I just laid things out on top of what I'd already chosen and saw if it worked, then it did. If anything was too bold, too large of a print, too bright, then I discarded those. So just so you know, kind of keep into the feel of it with being light and springy and airy. So then, once you have all of your strips on, you guys, this gets kind of raggedy all along here, and you simply put your rotary cutter and ruler down, and you trim all that and make those edges perfectly straight, and then you have your block. And as you sit and sew your blocks together, alternating them, by turning them around, you get those diamonds and X's built in that great secondary design, which is so fun. And a reminder with this one, it's just the same thing. This one will probably come down here. This one will come over here. There we go. There's another thin yellow one. And I'm going to just keep building my design. I'm going to show you this one up close with the thinner center one. So if you guys don't want your yellow to be as wide as this, cut it down. It works. It's not going to be a problem. So anyway, have fun with this, you guys. Enjoy. And remember, if you have questions, don't hesitate to call the store. I'm happy to help. Thanks so much. Have a great day.